My name is DeDe Griffith. I'm the coordinator for Achieving the Dream for Lee College in Baytown, Texas. That's a new role for me. We've actually been a member since 2006. I came on in 2006 as the faculty representative. And so in January I transitioned to the coordinator. We became a leader college, and so now I'm a coordinator for Achieving the Dream. Pretty much grew up in Lee College in Baytown. That's where I was born and raised, and that's where I started my undergraduate education, and I had a very long gap between getting my associate's degree and getting my bachelor's degree. I graduated, I hate to give that year, but I graduated from Lee College in 1990 and started a business as a designer and started my own company and did that for about 12 years, and then came back to teach part-time, where I was inspired by some colleagues to get my bachelor's degree. So in 2005, got my bachelor's degree and then continued on to get my master's degree at University of Houston in 2010. So I'm very much like my students. There are a lot of stop outs for a lot of us along the way, and so community college helps with those things. I think, I was sharing with a colleague this morning that it was the first time she's ever been here. And I kind of pumped her up on the way, telling her she's going to leave so motivated to make a difference. And I think that's, this morning we were talking, that's what you take away, is that when you stay on your campus and you don't experience a group of people like this, you don't realize that this is a national crisis. This is not, we got a new president or we got a new vice president and this is their thing. No, this is a national crisis that's going on, or I shouldn't say crisis, a national movement toward completion. And so when you realize, when you're here, you get a sense of how big this thing is that you're a part of. And then you realize that it's actually possible to make a difference. When you stay on your own campus and you don't experience this type of fellowship with other individuals that are in the middle of the fight too, sometimes you think that you're fighting a battle that can't be won. And then when you get here and you see people making strides in different areas, and you see how many different types of institutions are doing it slightly differently, then you realize that it's possible. And so you're more inspired to go home and get everybody pumped up and make a difference on your own campus. We are, one of the struggles that our students have, many struggles like a lot of the community college students. We have a high percentage of low-income students, and most of our students are part-time, and they're also working. A great percentage of them are non-traditional, although the traditional age that's our fastest growing population right now. But a lot of our students are non-traditional and industrial on the applied sciences side, and so their intent is not necessarily to graduate. Their intent is usually to be employed. So it's difficult, as an instructor on the faculty side, you're grabbing them by their coattail as they're running out the door because they got a job, you're saying, it's really important that you finish. I know you got a job, but let's get you through this. So that's a struggle. The priorities clearly, when they achieve a point where they can change the plight of their family, then they feel like they've succeeded, and while they have, we need to emphasize the importance of finishing that credential, because in times of economic downturn, if you have a credential, then you're valued so much more, you're less likely to lose your job. Actually, I facilitated a focus group a couple weeks ago with some African American students, and completely selfishly, I asked, I have a low percentage of African American students in my CAD and engineering technology side, and so I asked them, why would that be? Why do you suppose that would be? And one of the students said, well, we'd have to see it to believe it. And I said, and what do you mean by that? He said, show me an African-American engineer, show me an African-American architect. And so it really, although that's more about my program and not necessarily about the institution, but students emulate. They believe they can do things when they see people. They like to emulate their role models. And for example, in my program, which is traditionally a male-dominated field, I have a higher than average percentage of females in my program, which stands to reason because several of my instructors are female. And so for me, that's just a little microcosm of the bigger institutional issue of equity and the representation on campus and all of those positions of leadership, where if we want our students to aspire to those positions, they have to see it to believe it. I think probably achieving the dream is, for me, what community college represents. I was gifted in education. When I going through high school, it seemed simple to me, but I really had no aspirations. And looking back at this now, I wonder, I hate that I didn't have someone who pushed me harder in the beginning, because I think I could have been further along quicker. I don't know if I would have been any wiser, because I know my life experiences sort of shaped me as I am now. I don't know that I would have changed anything, actually, but I think that achieving the dream allows more people like myself to then realize things that they never thought they could do, and so maybe it gives hope to the average student.